Hey guys, and welcome back to the shop. If you're new here, I am the convicted Christian. I did almost 10 years in prison, and I am now 7 years clean and sober. All of it thanks to the love of God for me. For those that are returning, you know that it is What I Learned Wednesday, and this is where I talk about what I learned from Life Story Monday, which this week was the first time I was going to prison. So, let's start off there. Something that I learned that I didn't like learning was that I don't mind prison. I know that it should be the other way around, and in some ways, prison is the worst. Prison is pretty terrible. But if there's nothing outside of prison that you really care about, then it's not that bad. And some people will say, "Oh, well, you used to like getting high," and you can do that in prison, pretty easily, actually. Some people may say something like, "Well, what about your family?" I was too caught up in myself because of my youth and because of just who I was, that I didn't really care enough about my family to stay out. Hang on, I gotta plug my phone in. Oh, you're getting a close-up. Oh, big face. Okay. And that. Okay. And when I say that I can handle prison, I don't mean like, "Oh, I'm a tough guy, I can handle prison." I mean like, or that I did mind going to prison, is that you're fed 3 times a day. You don't have any bills. The only responsibility you have is to get up in time, follow the rules, and do what you're told. I mean, it's a pretty simple life. And if all you ever want is that kind of life, which, sad to say, it seems like a lot of people nowadays would prefer that life, it's super simple. I mean, it is not that hard. But whenever you get stuck in that mindset like I was, then outside life becomes hard, and you don't know how to be a free person anymore. You don't know how to enjoy your life anymore. And that is the part that I should have struggled with, and I didn't. And I don't think it helped me in any way to not struggle, because it came to a point where it was more about, okay, I know I'm going to prison again, just because I knew who I was, and it was almost like I was waiting to go back to prison. And the sad thing is I learned that from my first stay there. The first little bit is a little uncomfortable, just because it's kind of a shock to the system to go from having stuff to not having stuff. But I also learned that I can find a routine in anything. And in some ways it's bad, because I found a routine in prison. But the thing that I learned from that actually was helpful is that I learned that I can make a routine in anything. So if that is on the outside, I can make a routine. If it's in my job, I can make a routine. And yes, there will be some mess ups and some mistakes and some bobbles in between then the time you start the routine to the time I I was in full swing of the routine. But if I was given 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, it became such a part of the routine that even when I thought I forgot to do something, come to find out I didn't. Like now, at my job, we had switched from a physical time card that we wrote on to an app on my phone. Now, it took me a little bit, but now, like, there's times when I'll be like, "Oh man, I forgot to clock out." And I look at the app, and sure enough, I didn't. I clocked out. And so, learning a routine, I think, especially for people like me that think the way that I do, is critical in both aspects of surviving prison as well as making better choices outside of prison. Something else that I learned first going to prison is that I finally learned that not everybody is my friend. it's, and I know that I talked about it prior, but this going to prison finally cemented it. I had some instances where there was talking behind people's backs. I had some instances where there was some shenanigans going on, and it finally clicked in that not everybody here has my best interest in heart, even if it involves their best interest. Prison is a strange place where if you get on the wrong side of the right person, they will go out of their way to make your life terrible. And it's probably it sucks. It just sucks. But that's prison life. Or it can be prison life. Not everybody's like that. Some are. So those are kind of the surface things that I learned the first time going to prison. Now, next week, Life Story Monday, I'm going to be talking more about not what happens when you go through prison for the first time. I'm going to talk about what I specifically went through when I was going through prison the first time, and I will go and I will get out of Dodge, if the better way of stating it, and talk about my time at my actual institution that I was. What's the word I'm thinking of? I was sent to. I can't remember. I can't think of the word. I'll talk more about that institution as well. Some of the things that are going on in my mind that still I think about to this day. Prison is a place that I, especially the first time that I went through, it really cemented the reality of there being a God. I don't know if it's my God, the God that I believe in, the God of Abraham and Adam. I believe it is. I believe that is who is up there, out there, in there, whatever you want to say about him, it, them, whatever. But it got me back to reading during this time, and it got me back into religious texts and spiritual texts, and I learned that there's got to be something out there. There's got to be. It's intellectually, you can't explain a lot of things without there being something else. I don't know what that something else is, but I believe that it's there, and you can't escape it. You can't get away from it. You can't get around it. So that's a big one for me. That's one that I really, probably the one that I have stuck to the most. More than the routine thing, more than that there, no one, people aren't your friends. Not everybody's your friend. There's plenty of people that can be your friend, but not everybody is. But the belief in something. At the time, I didn't know what to believe in. I even tattooed a whole bunch of religious symbols on my arm. Every time that I would start to follow something, I would tattoo it on my arm. And then if it didn't pan out, the next thing I followed, I tattooed that on my arm. So I had a whole row of things on my arm that I thought were real at one point. And this was kind of the start of that, going to prison for the first time. That, to me, was the beginning of knowing that you can be an intellectual, which I believe I am. I'm not the smartest man. I'm not the dumbest man. I'm not a genius, and I'm not a dullard, if you want to use an old term. I don't know if some of you old fellers out there, or old gals that know what dullard is, put it in the comment if you know what it means. But I learned that you can intellectually think about the Bible, about religious text, about whatever faith that you choose to follow, and still be true to your belief and to your faith system. And that was a big one for me, because I was always afraid of, well, if I say this around this religious person, then they're not going to believe that I believe, and yada, yada, yada. I think this was the start of me not caring anymore. There's a lot of things not explained in a lot of religious texts. And I'm not trying to disprove any. I'm not trying to say you should believe this or not believe this. But we can think about the things that aren't explained. And we can try to make sense of it in our own minds. And we can try to figure it out. That's what this time did for me. And a lot of things that I still believe may be true, but I can't say yes or no, I got from this time. I learned the importance of peace. When you first go to prison and you don't know when you can relax and when you can let your hair down, if you want to say, you are in a constant heightened state of, best way I can say is fear. Some of it's anxiety, some of it is apprehension, but it really boils down to fear. I was scared that someone was going to beat me up. I was scared that I would have to beat somebody else up. Just a constant heightened state of fear. And I didn't know when and where I could let some of that go or when it was necessary to feel that way. And because of that, very draining. Very, very draining. And you get to a point where you start slipping, and when you should be more leery, you're not, and when you shouldn't be, you are. We all need places of peace. For me now, even though my marriage isn't perfect and me and my wife still get on each other's nerves and we still frustrate the heck out of each other from time to time, my safe spot, my place of peace, my place of relaxation and healing is my wife. And because of that, I have a place where I don't have to worry about work and I don't have to worry about my relationship with my family or I don't have to worry about my wife's relationship with her family or across the streams. I don't have to worry about that. All I have to worry about is relaxing. Talking without wondering what she's going to think. Just being in the moment with my wife. The importance of that is so understated. So if you seem to constantly be in a heightened sense of fear, anger, out of place, they always say be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Absolutely. Always be ready to be out of your comfort zone. But don't get rid of your comfort zone completely. Because without it, you're going to burn yourself out. And there's going to be times where you need to go in it and just recenter, decompress, get back on your feet, and get back out there. So if you're struggling with alcohol or drugs or coming out of prison freshly or that you went to prison and you don't know how to handle it, other than the 5 steps that I talk about in my first videos, you need to find your place of peace. You need to find that part of your life that energizes you and rejuvenates you so that you can get back out there. You can keep on fighting and keep on battling those demons that you have inside. And I don't mean like biblical demons. I mean like, alcohol and drugs just being a secular demon. Not saying that they can't be biblical demons. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying that word gets bandied around a lot in religious circles, and I think that it's almost a little too used. My opinion. Anyways. I know that if it hadn't been for the things that I learned in the first time I went to prison, I'm not going to say I wouldn't have gone back. And I'm not saying that I would have stayed out. Because I learned things that gave both credence. But I know that I also wouldn't have the compassion that I have now for prisoners. It wouldn't have started me down this road of wanting to help. And so if you've been to prison before and you're thinking, well, what the heck can I do? There's plenty that you can do. you can lend someone else your ear, someone else your shoulder, someone else the strength of arms if they need help moving to their first place after prison. You could be their place of peace because they know you understand. Don't sell yourself short like I used to. You are worthy of helping others, and you're worthy of people coming to you for help if you're inclined to give it. Believe in what you know, believe in what you've been through, and others will know you're authentic. And you'll find authentic people to surround yourself with. So, today's Wednesday, so that means Friday is going to be Hobby Friday. I actually been kind of working out here in the garage a little more, and I have a couple of videos that don't have to do with the vase, or the urn, urn. And I've got some ideas down in the pipe, and I got irons in the fire and all those colloquial sayings. I got some stuff coming up, and they're not going to be, what feels like 2 million parts to one project. I'm going to try to do a couple that are a project a piece, maybe 2 parts for it, and then maybe we'll get into a bigger project again. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys prefer the bigger projects, or would you guys like to see some small projects or small things? Like I'm going to have a cleaning the shop video, I'm going to have sharpening my lathe tools video, and then the one with the antler. It's coming together really nice, and I can't wait to show you guys. But I would like to know what you guys think. Do you guys prefer the large projects that take, feels like forever? Or do you want a few small ones? Let me know what you think. I'm waiting to hear from you guys. I would really appreciate some feedback to help this channel and so we can help others. But that's it for today. Always remember, if we're going to change the world, we need a place of peace so we can change ourselves. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.